Kia ora, hello, this is Kitty Fitton and
Ima Kiriakou.
And this is Ordinary Life on Coast Access Radio 104.7 FM. And we are two women in the prime of our lives, aren't we, Emma? Oh my word. And we are getting together to bring you all that we find interesting about the wonderful, thrilling world of Parkinson's disease. We get all the best topics, right?
Yeah. Totally the best. I think you probably just got me there in the prime of our life, because I've just started working with people who are quite a lot younger than me, and I'm starting to feel a bit older.
Surely not. I mean, we're both in our 40s. Isn't that young?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Totally.
I like it.
Actually, I went to a talk this week. It was a really, really interesting talk, completely off topic, about atrial fibrillation, which is to do with the heart and not Parkinson's. And I felt very young. Yeah, it was kind of good. I think I should go to more medical talks of things, and then I'll feel so much better about myself. But no, So, disclaimer, neither myself nor Emma are doctors or medical professionals of any kind, but we are packing our very own chronic illness. So I have Parkinson's, and Emma, you?
I have Parkinson's. Well, I live with Parkinson's. Oh, this is going to bring up how do we talk about it?
How do we talk about that? I have Parkinson's, and you have it too. I mean, how can we share it? In fact, I think you should just take it from me, and then we'd be great. I would be cured. You can just keep it for yourself. No, I'm sorry.
I've started going Parkinson's.
Parkinson's. Yeah. It's a serious topic. And it's a disease that stereotypically affects men, older men, which is why you've got two women in their 40s talking to you about it. I've been diagnosed about 7.5 years, but I've had symptoms for 8. And how about you, Emma?
I can't remember my exact numbers, but my numbers are weird, because I was 29 anyway when I first noticed symptoms. I'm 45 now.
Wow.
I was diagnosed when I was 40. I was diagnosed with Parkinson's when I was 40. So you do math. You do the math, you people.
Longer than me, and but it's not a contest. Not a contest either of us wants to win.
Also, we probably both don't really know exactly when it started happening or when we got it, because
it's really creepy, isn't it?
They reckon that it's, by the time you notice symptoms, it's a lot. You could be years into it.
Yeah,
so
which is quite
hard to know.
Hard to know. But last time we had a chat, we promised it. Well, actually, because as I'm wont to do, I make rash promises, and I said we'll do a deep dive into DBS, and then I realised I can't do that, because I don't actually know enough about it. However, I thought actually that's not necessarily a bad thing, and maybe we could do a little chat about what DBS actually is, and then we can do the deep, scary stuff on another show. Is that all right with you?
Great. Sounds good.
Good.
So my understanding is that deep brain stimulation is electrical things in your brain.
Yeah. So I did actually have, I got a definition somewhere. I just, hang on. Oh yeah, I'm so prepared. Look at this. So deep brain stimulation, it is described as something that's commonly used to treat a number of conditions, including Parkinson's disease, essential tremor, conditions that cause dystonia, such as Meiggs syndrome. you want to explain what
Mm.
dystonia is for people that don't know?
Dystonia is a muscle contraction, but it's essentially when it's when your brain and your muscle. Sometimes it's focal dystonia, so it's like your hand or your foot muscles in your hand and
Yeah.
foot
It's all
don't
those
pay
weird,
attention to what
glitchy
the brain is
movements.
telling them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Dystonia for
epilepsy?
me was like my foot would curl, like my toes would curl under.
Yeah. And epilepsy, Tourette syndrome, and obsessive compulsive disorder. And essentially, what they do is they implant electrodes within areas of the brain and they produce little impulses that affect brain activity. And that sounds quite nice and clinical, but
Yeah,
actually, it's quite something a bit, a bit more full on, eh? I,
yes.
my kids actually
So
said to
you have
me,
brain surgery, and then you get something in your chest that's the battery, I think, and you have a cord that goes down the back of your neck,
mm,
like under the skin, and then there's a battery on your chest, as I understand it, and
indeed.
that connects to the things in your brain, and you have to charge your battery, apparently.
Yeah. So it's actually quite a big, serious, very serious operation. And like when I was talking to my kids about it, because that's naturally that's what you do when you're talking about serious brain surgery. You get your children and go, "Hey, what do you know about this?" So I asked the kids what they thought about it, and they said, "What's the difference between that and a lobotomy?" Which kind of makes
Oh,
sense, really. And because you do literally, I've seen some pictures. I mean, and it looks terrifying, doesn't it?
yeah. I think it's a lobotomy is when they cut something out of your brain. Is that
Well, yeah, a
what?
lobotomy is quite unpleasant.
Yeah. I don't think they do any cutting with deep brain stimulation, but they're like inserting the electrodes things into your brain.
Yeah,
So it is major brain surgery, and it is something that like here in New Zealand, I think you can only do it in Auckland. So
yeah,
large parts of the country would need to travel to Auckland. You have to come off your medication before the surgery. So there's all that pain and anguish
yeah. So I mean,
for
first of all, you have to be selected as somebody that can actually
selected.
have it. So I
Yeah.
mean, you don't, and it's not for everyone. I think one of my daughter said to me, "Oh, so Mum, are you gonna you having DBS then?" And I was like, well, at the moment, I'm controlled quite well with drugs, thanks.
Mm,
I take a lot of
yeah.
tablets and do lots of cycling and exercise, and that seems to work quite well. And I think you're very similar, aren't you?
Yeah, at the moment, I mean, from what I understand, there's some people respond really well to it, but there are people who don't respond well to it, or who for whom it's a negative thing to have.
Yeah,
So they want to do really like as much as they can to select the right people into it.
it's a lot of
Um,
research, hey?
yeah, so that's kind of like on the neurologists to make sure they put forward people who will benefit. That's come a long way in recent years in terms of what they know about the group who would benefit from it. And I think they had been doing about 20 a year, so but there is quite a long waiting list as well. So
Yeah, because I think if you actually need it, you really need it, and it's you are quite
mm,
bad. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of like
if
the end of your option list, isn't it? In terms of
pretty,
like you get through as much as you can on drugs, and then when you get to the end of that,
yeah,
that's when you might consider it, I think.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, what I read on everybody's favorite website, if you have Parkinson's, the Michael J. Fox Institute. So Michael J. Fox says they don't completely understand it, but it regulates abnormal signals in your brain. So you first need to do lots of, like you said, lots of testing. So
Yeah.
you get a movement disorder specialist, or that's basically a neurologist with some extra Parkinson's training, and they get a brain surgeon and they conduct lots of tests on you. you have to come off your medication. Then they look at you, and then you go back on it. They take lots of scans.
Mm,
But it's more for like, according to this, decreased tremor, fewer medications, etc. And everyone's
yeah,
different, which is again
yeah.
just like Parkinson's is. And there's
So, I
always
mean,
risks. Go on.
from the people I've heard who've had it that I've known, they said it's either decreased their medications that they have to take a lot, but then over time they might go back up again in terms of what they're taking. But
Yeah,
also after they have it done, it's not turned on initially, so they do the operation to put the things in, and then you have to wait for a bit of healing, and then they turn it on, and then you have to keep going back to get it adjusted to you so that it's that the
yeah.
output of it right for you.
I mean, apparently it can take up to a year to get it tweaked properly, so they know it's work, so they know it's working. And I've just seen some pictures of everybody's favorite Parkinson's podcaster that I think there's a chap in Canada, um,
Larry.
Larry Gifford, who does
Gifford,
When
yeah,
Life Gives You Parkinson's,
yeah.
and he's put some pictures up. He's just had DBS, and that
All
they
right.
it looked quite major,
Mm,
but I mean, you from somebody who that potentially might one day face something like that, I found it quite confronting. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? He's like, oh my God, they are literal, oh my God images when you look at them. I mean, and like you said
where does
earlier,
he shaped up and stuff? And is it that kind of
it looks almost
like is it,
Frankensteinish, like he's got huge either side. So because this is
yeah,
radio and you can't see us pointing at our heads, like if you follow up from above your eyes and your temples up onto the top of your head, they make incisions in there, and then they actually cut holes into your skull,
yeah,
and then a surgeon will place thin metal wires into the brain. And as Emma said earlier, you are sometimes awake when this happens. So they know they've got the right place. They ask you to do stuff
yeah.
during the operation, which is just like, I can't even begin to imagine what that must feel like.
Because weirdly, apparently, your brain doesn't like you can't feel your brain in the way that we think about
Imagine. Yeah.
that. Yeah, that
I did Google it and there were
that's
some pictures. I was like, whoa, I don't want to look too closely at
yeah.
that.
For me, I mean, I'm thinking about and this for my future because I pretty much have accepted that this will be something that I'll probably need to do. Um, it's just the whole daunting travel and being on your own without support and figuring all that out and being off the medications, like the whole package, even before you start thinking about what
Mm.
actually happens to you
Yeah.
in the surgery. So
I think it's
yeah,
one of those
I haven't
things
kind
that
of gotten over that milestone yet of having to really think about it.
I imagine
But
that you're in such a, and this is comes from a complete place of ignorance. I accept that, but I would imagine you are in such a, you have such bad tremors, or you have such a bad
mm,
experience with your Parkinson's, that even though there are risks associated with it, obviously it's brain surgery, stroke or bleeding
mm,
or kinds of things, your quality of life may be so diminished, you would take that opportunity to get some
yeah,
relief from it. And from what I've
yeah,
seen, it's absolutely life changing, as in a positive life
yeah,
changing thing.
yeah. I
But it's
think
also, yeah,
no, I was just going to say, I think that about 9 out of 10 people I've heard who've had it have been positive, but there is, one person who's quite negative and would tell, people don't get it done. But so that probably comes back to the screening stuff.
yeah, that's unfortunate, really. Did they have like a bad experience, or did they?
Yeah. yeah, like it didn't work. It actually made it worse.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's to do with, her particular case or particular surgeon or I don't know. And it wasn't in this country, so it's hard to know.
Yeah, and like you say, it's a lot of it's to do with screening and making sure that you are suitable for it, and you have to be so sure, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, and interestingly, I think they've now identified some genetic things that can tell people with certain genes or certain what do you call them?
Genetic
What is it?
markers,
What's that called
DNA,
when there's something wrong? A genetic
hereditary.
mutation,
Oh,
specific
genetic
mutation.
mutation.
Yeah, that are correlated with being good for your particular style style of Parkinson.
Um,
So
My
that's
style
a
of
way to
Parkinson's.
narrow it down. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, that sounds like kind of
I think
corny, doesn't it?
I think I think there's quite a number of these mutations that they've identified now. There's 22 or 23 at one stage, but there might be heaps more now.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me because there's so many different types of Parkinson's, and
Yeah,
I mean, people
yeah,
are always saying to me like, "How did you get it? Is it in your family?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just lucky, I guess. You know, I'm just I'm just special." Um, and
yeah. I won
um,
that lottery.
it's like, whoa, yeah, it's not the lottery I wanted to win, but here I am. Um, and I
Yeah,
still, I mean, and probably like you, I still live an awful lot in denial. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, "Oh, we just," she said, "My husband and I are just not thinking about it. We're just like ignoring that this has happened." And I went, she said, "You might think that's really bad," and I just started laughing. I was like, "Oh, I think that's totally fine. That's exactly what I do." You know,
yeah,
ignoring it, I think is, I mean, I take my medication and I exercise, but yeah, I look at stuff
yeah.
like
Let's get by.
genetics is interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit of a minefield, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm just flicking through our good friend Michael J. Fox, who talking about the weeks after surgery, a movement disorder specialist can program your neurostimulator to help treat your unique symptoms.
Have you got is your neurologist a movement specialist?
Do you know? I don't know. I mean, he seems to be rather clever. I mean, he knows what he's doing, which is what one hopes. Um, I'm very happy with him.
Yeah.
Um,
The less you see of him, the better.
well, I was quite proud because I did hold the record for walking up and down the corridor in the hospital, and they time you and you go
Yeah.
and then they get you to do all the flappy neuro movements with your
Oh,
hands.
yeah.
I was not so good at that, but walking I was great at. And now I'm
Awesome.
I'm not so good at that anymore, which is
Damn.
I'm kind of struggling with that a bit at the moment, if I'm honest. And yeah, I find that quite hard. I've talked about
I've
walking
gone
and before. Go on.
I've gone up and down in the walking front in terms of what the neurologist has seen. It's been you know, for the longest time I was super awesome, and then one time I was there and I really struggled.
Mm,
And that was kind of like, oh, doom and gloom. But then I improved after that. And now the marker seems to be my dyskinesia more than the walking. It's like um,
it's
how
weird,
much
eh?
that's going. It's more of a yeah.
Yeah, and
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 so
and I
I'm kind of torn between the walking and the dyskinesia,
I don't know
which is
about
weird.
you, but I know for a long time I felt like I was a bit of a fraud because here I was talking about having Parkinson's, and yet I didn't look like I had it, and I didn't feel really too bad. I mean, I felt bad on a morning and that, but through the day I was kind of all right. And now it is worse. And I don't know if that's because I've been sitting down 8 hours a day at work or in not
Mm.
exercising enough, which I really need to up my exercise. I don't know if it's I don't know why it is. And then the tiny part of me goes, it's a degenerative disease, you idiot. Of course you're gonna get worse. But then the other part of me goes, no, I'm totally fine. It's all good. Let's just keep going. And I choose to look at the, hey, I'm totally fine. I'm probably just a bit out of shape. It's got nothing to do with having a degenerative neurological disorder, right?
I think I'm there with you on that, because I think that's where I'm in the denial, because yeah, like from time to time I find myself convincing myself that it's not neurodegenerative at all. It's,
Yeah,
that's just stuff they say.
absolutely. I mean, that's just, I've no idea why they say these things. It's just ridiculous. And then you look at things like deep brain stimulation and you go, oh, that's for people who are very sick. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But
I
I
mean,
mean, I think if I need it, when I need it, I'll do it. I'm not gonna flinch away from it if I need it. If it's gonna help me function and be there with my loved ones for better, make my time better that I've got, I'll do it. I'll
yeah,
do
I think
anything.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, at the moment, my family, my dad struggles with the amount of tablets that I take. Still, I've
Mm,
talked about this
yeah,
before as well.
he worries
And
about it, does he? That you're taking too
oh,
many tablets?
I'm taking too many tablets. And he goes, and
Mm,
if you knocked one off, if you knocked a couple off, would you notice? I was like, yes, I would. I do. And he's like, and but you take you take a lot of tablets, he says. And I go, yeah.
uh,
But no,
he kind of thinks you're addicted to to the bad drugs, does he?
well, I am addicted to dopamine, yeah, as I
Yeah,
believe
but
you are too.
that's kind of normal.
Yeah. So, no, I think
Most
I
of us
think
don't
that's,
have to take it in pill form. Most of us have it, our bodies make it for us.
but not us, not me and you.
Not
Anyway,
us. No.
well, I would like to say I think that was great. Thank you so much for talking to me about your thoughts on deep brain stimulation.
You're welcome.
And we will cover another topic next time we get together in a fortnight. If you would like to hear any past episodes, you can catch them on Coast Access Radio or at kittyfitton.com. If you have any concerns, you can contact Parkinson's New Zealand on 0800 473 4636. That's Parkinson's New Zealand on 0800 473 4686. And I've been Kitty, and you've been.
Emma.
And I hope you enjoyed this. And the song we've selected to play is the Ramones, and I Want to Be Sedated.
So when it's 24 hours to go, I wanna be sedated. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. I wanna be sedated. Just get me to the airport, put me on a plane. Hurry, 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 before I go insane. I take it from my fingers, I take it from my brain. Oh no, oh, 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 oh. So when it's 24 hours to go, I wanna be sedated. Nothing to do, nowhere to go.
This program was made with assistance from New Zealand On Air for radio broadcast and through the accessmedia.nz website. Thank you, New Zealand On Air.